The nerves from these sources, 15 or 20 in number, have a few ganglia developed upon them. They accompany the branches of the renal artery into the kidney. Some filaments are distributed to the spermatic plexus and, on the right side, to the inferior vena cava. The spermatic plexus, plexus spermaticus, is derived from the renal plexus, receiving branches from the aortic plexus. It accompanies the internal spermatic artery to the testes. In the female, the ovarian plexus, plexus arteriae ovaricae, arises from the renal plexus and is distributed to the ovary and fundus of the uterus. The superior mesenteric plexus, plexus mesentericus superior, is a continuation of the lower part of the celiac plexus, receiving a branch from the junction of the right vagus nerve with the plexus. It surrounds the superior mesenteric artery, accompanies it into the mesentery, and divides into a number of secondary plexuses, which are distributed to all parts supplied by the artery, viz. Pancreatic branches to the pancreas, intestinal branches to the small intestine, and ileocolic, right colic, and middle colic branches, which supply the corresponding parts of the great intestine. The nerves composing this plexus are white in color and firm in texture. In the upper part of the plexus, close to the origin of the superior mesenteric artery, is a ganglion, ganglion mesentericum superius. The abdominal aortic plexus, plexus aorticus abdominalis, aortic plexus, is formed by branches derived on either side from the celiac plexus and ganglia, and receives filaments from some of the lumbar ganglia. It is situated upon the sides and front of the aorta, between the origins of the superior and inferior mesenteric arteries. From this plexus arise part of the spermatic, the inferior mesenteric, and the hypogastric plexuses. It also distributes filaments to the inferior vena cava. The inferior mesenteric plexus, plexus mesentericus inferior, is derived chiefly from the aortic plexus. It surrounds the inferior mesenteric artery and divides into a number of secondary plexuses which are distributed to all the parts supplied by the artery, viz. the left colic and sigmoid plexuses, which supply the descending and sigmoid parts of the colon, and the superior hemorrhoidal plexus, which supplies the rectum and joins in the pelvis with branches from the pelvic plexuses. The hypogastric plexus, plexus hypogastricus. The hypogastric plexus is situated in front of the last lumbar vertebra and the promontory of the sacrum, between the two common iliac arteries, and is formed by the union of numerous filaments which descend on either side from the aortic plexus and from the lumbar ganglia. It divides below into two lateral portions, which are named the pelvic plexuses. The pelvic plexuses. The pelvic plexuses supply the viscera of the pelvic cavity and are situated at the sides of the rectum in the male and at the sides of the rectum and vagina in the female. They are formed on either side by a continuation of the hypogastric plexus, by the sacral sympathetic efferent fibers from the second, third, and fourth sacral nerves, and by a few filaments from the first two sacral ganglia. At the points of junction of these nerves, small ganglia are found. From these plexuses numerous branches are distributed to the viscera of the pelvis. They accompany the branches of the hypogastric artery. The middle hemorrhoidal plexus, plexus hemorrhoidal medius, arises from the upper part of the pelvic plexus. It supplies the rectum and joins the branches of the superior hemorrhoidal plexus. The vesical plexus, plexus vesicalis, arises from the forepart of the pelvic plexus. The nerves composing it are numerous, and contain a large proportion of spinal nerve fibers. They accompany the vesical arteries, and are distributed to the sides and fundus of the bladder. Numerous filaments also pass to the vesiculae seminales and ductus deferens. Those accompanying the ductus deferens join on the spermatic cord with branches from the spermatic plexus. The prostatic plexus (Plexus prostaticus) is continued from the lower part of the pelvic plexus. The nerves composing it are of large size. They are distributed to the prostate vesiculae and the corpora cavernosa of the penis and urethra. The nerves supplying the corpora cavernosa consist of two sets, the lesser and greater cavernous nerves, which arise from the forepart of the prostatic plexus and, after joining with branches from the pudendal nerve, pass forward beneath the pubic arch. The lesser cavernous nerves, cavernosae penis minoris, small cavernous nerves, perforate the fibrous covering of the penis near its root. The greater cavernous nerve, cavernosus penis major, large cavernous plexus, passes forward along the dorsum of the penis, joins with the dorsal nerve of the penis, and is distributed to the corpora cavernosa. The vaginal plexus arises from the lower part of the pelvic plexus. It is distributed to the walls of the vagina, to the erectile tissue of the vestibule, and to the clitoris. The nerves composing this plexus contain, like the vesicle, a large proportion of spinal nerve fibers. The uterine plexus accompanies the uterine artery to the side of the uterus, between the layers of the broad ligament. It communicates with the ovarian plexus. End of section 46.